Let's face it, school will always give us challenges, so why not let's romanticize it?
You can't finish all this and sleep at the same time. You have to sleep is what keeps you pretty. Who cares if I'm pretty if I fail my finals? So, what are you doing tonight? Well, homework and then homework and if I get all that done in time, homework.
September 11. What if I told you you could become the girl you've always dreamed to be? Really? I can? Yes, really. You could be that one girl who always gets straight A's, always looks good in school, always dresses well, never fails to be aesthetic, loves school so much and is always trying to be the best version of herself. Well, I guess you're right. But wait, school isn't always the brightest place for many of us. There are times where we feel like giving up. But what if? What if school doesn't have to be such a bad place? Well, your journey to romanticizing school starts today. Hi, my name is Misha, your internet comfort bestie. If you're new here, hi, and if you're not, hi, welcome back. In this video, I will be showing you how to romanticize school as a student. Enjoy! When I think of romanticizing school, the first thing that I think of is immediately Pinterest. For school, I have 3 Pinterest boards. Follow my Pinterest if you haven't already. So for Pinterest board number 1, I have a school vision board. For those of you that watched my back to school video, before school started, I actually made a school vision board, which basically has all of the goals that I'd like to achieve for this school year. But now that I have a physical copy of my vision board, I actually made this board a motivation board, a school motivation board. So for my second Pinterest board, it is a school project inspo board. My school has a lot of designing and art projects, and obviously I need inspiration for those projects, so I made a Pinterest board just dedicated to it. Usually when I see something I like, I save it on this board, so next projects I could potentially use that inspo. So I currently have a project due tomorrow, which is a infographic poster. My school lets us use Canva to make the infographic posters, and I will show you the pins that I saved for it. So this was my inspo for my project, and this is what I ended up making. And my third school Pinterest board is a note-taking board. I have been really wanting to write really aesthetic notes, so I actually made a Pinterest board dedicated to just aesthetic notes, so I can write aesthetic notes. So since we're talking about aesthetic school notes, the second way I romanticize school is taking aesthetic school notes. Now let's talk about note-taking essentials to pretty much help you have the most comfortable experience when taking notes. So firstly, if your school allows it, I suggest getting a binder. I personally use a kokoyu campus binder. If you're in high school, I really recommend getting B5 size binders, especially if your school has so much information to write. So what I like about this binder is it has dividers so you can separate your subjects to easily find them. And it literally doesn't make loud sounds unlike those metal binders. You know what I'm talking about if you have one. My favorite paper when it comes to writing is currently the Kokoyu Campus loose leaf paper. It is literally so smooth and it's actually really practical because it shows you where the center is. And it has several dots so you can draw charts using your ruler by connecting the dots. So now let's talk about writing essentials. My favorite brand for pens are currently Pentel Energel. When I tell you I feel spoiled when using it, I am not kidding. These pens literally do not smudge at all. So here's comparison to a Muji pen. They actually also help save the environment because they are refillable. These are currently the pen refills. So for note taking, I use the colors black and blue. I use black for typical writing. I use blue when I want to emphasize words or make it look different so that I can easily spot it. Like for example, I'll add the synonym or another definition of the word on top of the black lettered words. For highlighters, I currently use mine liners. However, these are extremely infamous for smudging, but the thing about them is that they are aesthetic. Of course though, I'm always open to suggestions on what highlighter I should use because I am looking for one that is anti-smudge. And lastly, the most important one is correction tape. The brand of correction tape I currently use is Dong-A, and it's a Korean brand. Basically, with correction tape, you are actually able to erase your ballpen mistakes. And it's honestly just so that your notes can look clean since you're not crossing things out. Now that we're done with the note-taking stationery essentials, let's move on to the actual note-taking. So for my notes, I am currently still in the process of trying to make my notes as effective as possible. But how I write my notes is I basically start with adding the subject on the top so I can easily identify which subject this is. Below the subject, I add the lesson that I'm taking notes for. So this is how I usually lay out my notes. So the third way to romanticize school is to have Spotify playlists. So I currently have 2 playlists that I use for school. So for my first playlist, I use this when I want to romanticize doing schoolwork, since I love listening to upbeat, fast, happy music. This playlist mainly consists of Japanese bossa nova, which helps me get in a good mood. And you should always be careful on what you listen to, since if you listen to sad music, there's a possibility that your emotions will shift based on the music you listen to. So my second playlist is Shoujo Girl OST. This playlist only consists of From Me to You though at the moment, because that is the only one that I watched. If ever I want to have those moments where I want to pretend like I am in a shoujo anime, but I'm kind of fake because I don't usually watch shows actually. Oh my gosh, I am literally 14%. I need to charge real quick. I literally found like a MagSafe but for iPad. Like, I am so shocked. So let's unbox a whole package just for me to charge my iPad. That sounds really unreasonable now that I think about it. But this is the KUXIU or KUXIU magnetic charging stand for iPads, and I'm currently using it on my iPad Pro M4. This is honestly such a game changer because you can literally just put the product on the iPad stand and it will charge. Is this an iPad or is this a PC? It literally makes the iPad look so cool. If you want to buy this magnetic charging iPad stand, the link is in the description. So the fourth way on how to romanticize school is to watch school-related movies or series. I noticed that people often watch Gilmore Girls, Gossip Girls, Mean Girls, Wifty, and From Me to You. And to romanticize school, they pretty much pretend that they are a movie character in the show. So the fifth way on how to romanticize school is to decorate your school bag. And you don't even need to buy new things. You can just try finding stuff that you have at home. And now let's talk about the bag decorating essentials. So for one, I use blue gingham ribbon, and you can actually find any ribbon or lace at home. For two, you can try finding any keychain you have. For me, my keychains are more practical as you can store things inside of them. Lastly are alcohol spray bottles, so you can clean your hands and surroundings without needing to open your bag. Grab your ribbon and let's start decorating your bag. So I can assume this is probably how your current bag looks like. Pretty plain, but why not? Let's decorate it. Believe it or not, I actually didn't buy anything new to decorate my bag. I mostly used the stuff I already had at home. Like for example, the spray bottle was given to me by my mom, and my pom-pom print keychain was a gift from around 2 or 3 years ago. All of the ribbons were already ribbons that I previously had at home as well. So just because you won't buy new things to decorate your bag, that doesn't mean your bag deco won't turn out good. Good luck decorating your bag. Make sure to replace the ribbons once in a while because they get dirty over time. But who said we stop at bag? Let's ribbonify everything. For me, I'm decorating my pencil case. You can literally decorate everything. You can decorate your pencil case, you can decorate your notebooks, and you can even decorate your books if you wanna. So the sixth way on how to romanticize school is to put effort in your fashion. Welcome to my closet! So if it's not already obvious, I love fashion, so let's talk about school outfits. So personally, my school actually has uniforms, but I would really love to explore making outfits for school. So typically to make outfits, I actually have this thought process in my head. So let's start with picking a shirt. This is my favorite shirt, but I actually haven't styled it in so long. So let's try styling it. To style outfits, we first need a color scheme. Since that shirt pretty much gives off academia vibes, I will go with the most basic color scheme that almost everyone does. But let's do black and white. So this is currently how the shirt looks. Really what I do next is I layer the shirt with something if it doesn't feel complete on its own. Just like showing the process of like my thought, my thinking process. So to keep the monochrome look, I'll pair it with a gray skirt. So this is what I like to call like a base of the outfit. So what I do next after getting the base of the outfit down is add some accessories. For this outfit, I'm thinking of adding like a tie. So I'm currently considering either this tie or this tie. And basically I try it on so I can see which one looks better. So this is how tie number 1 ended up. Let's try the second tie. So this is how the second tie turned out. Anyways, most importantly, shoes. So yeah, this is the final outfit completed. We can actually apply this to so many different outfits. So let's do little outfit spins. So I actually came up with all of those outfits in 1 hour, and I hope that they can give you some inspiration if you want to take inspo. Let's talk about shoes. I have 2 shoes that I mainly use for school. Number 1 are these Converses and number 2 are Mary Janes. Personally, I love shoes with heels so much because they really give me a confidence boost. I mean, they boost my height. So the 7th way on how to romanticize school is to journal. A lot of people actually struggle with knowing when or where or how to even start journaling. In fact, I actually had the same problem just before I started. But since it was a new year, I decided to just buy a journal because new year, new me. I did some research on what journal I should get and I ended up getting Midori MD B6 Slim. When I started journaling, my life changed. I learned to be more grateful and I learned to realize a lot of things that I haven't realized before. If you fear starting, I just want to let you know the hardest part is just to start. So this is your sign to start journaling. So the 8th way to romanticize school is to get pretty stationery. Here's a glimpse of my school life if you've never watched my videos before. I often get compliments for my pretty stationery and my eye for aesthetics, which is honestly just so sweet. So some brands I recommend are Rosy Posy, Plan With, Muji, Kokuyu, and Stationery Pal. So the 9th way to romanticize school is to get enough sleep. I say this in every video and I'll say it again here. How do you expect to see school with rose-tinted glasses when you are a literal walking zombie from your 3 hours of sleep? How do you expect to wake up feeling refreshed in the morning when you slept at 4 a.m.? Did you know that sleep can improve your life drastically? And obviously, to romanticize school, you obviously need to wake up happy, or at least not super groggy. A lot of people still don't know this, but using alarms that go beep, beep, beep. Yes, those alarms that are so irritating in the morning actually worsens your sleep inertia. So what do? Firstly, you should try switching up your alarm to one that sounds like birds chirping. There are so many other factors that you actually need to do, but I digress. I actually got all of this information from a YouTube video I watched a few months ago, and we'll be linking it in the pinned comments because I know it can help you too. And the 10th way to romanticize school is through mindset. So actually in my previous live stream, someone mentioned mishaism, which honestly just made me laugh so hard because I was like, anyways. So as you read from the title, I am an A+ student, but I sometimes have identity crises because I am not that smart compared to the other smart kids in school. I honestly just think that I work hard. Anyways, let's cue the motivational speech. If you're watching this, you probably go to school. A lot of times I notice that people often complain about going to school, when in fact, school is an amazing place that everyone is so lucky to be able to go to. I'm so thankful that my parents enrolled me to school because without education, I probably wouldn't have even been able to make this channel because I wouldn't have known the fundamental basics on how to communicate even in the language English, which I actually learned at school because when I was younger, I used to not speak English. So instead of always complaining about going to school, instead of saying, I have to go to school again, why not let's replace that with, I get to go to school, I get to learn new things, I get to meet new people, I get to learn new skills. Why should everything always be the negative side to it? Why not let's embrace what we have and embrace what we can learn? So since I mentioned something about skills, I now want to introduce you to the concept that school isn't actually as useless as we think it is. You know how earlier in the video I showed my school graphic design project? I actually found my love for graphic design from school because my school actually was the one who introduced and offered being able to make presentations and as well as infographics, which actually made me realize like, oh my gosh, I'm actually quite good at this. And without school, I actually would have never knew that I actually liked graphic design. One thing that I actually like is public speaking. The first time I ever spoke in front of so many people was during 8th grade. The first time I ever did public speaking, I wish I could say that I knew I liked it. I wish I could say that I was so confident. I wish I could say I wasn't scared. But it was the complete opposite. I was shaking. I was scared. But guess what? For my first ever public speaking project, the moment after I finished, someone in the crowd said something that never left my mind till today. They said, "Wow, that was actually good." Those little words of encouragement made me realize that it was something I was actually good at, and I never knew that before. And so during the 9th grade, I actually volunteered for public speaking projects. And this was coming from a girl that is shy and a girl that thought that she could never do public speaking. So what I'm trying to say is, school helps us find the things that we like. And next one is, school is there for our skills to compound. There are so many people in school that slack on projects, especially group projects. I just want to say, if you're actually trying to contribute to group projects, you are doing this for yourself. It will benefit you and not just the slacker in your group. Each time you do something, the better at it you get. During 9th grade, I made it my absolute goal to get better at studying and get better grades. Because in 8th grade, despite my grades actually being high enough, my quizzes were nowhere near high at all. In fact, I actually failed a lot of them. But because I kept trying to study and study and study, eventually my skills to study compounded and now I can actually get better grades than before. Currently, only 3 grades are out of the 10 quizzes that I took this year so far, and I got 1 mistake in 2 of them and perfect in 1 of them. That wouldn't have been possible if my 9th grade self didn't try to study or didn't try to learn how to study. If you think about it, all of the skills that you learned at school compound over time, and all of these compounded skills will come back to you when you're older to benefit you. So just think of school as an investment. It is not useless, it helps. So the next part that I want to tackle is procrastination. Come on, we all know what procrastination is at this point. And I'm not gonna lie, I used to struggle with procrastination a lot. And that was mainly because I relied on motivation. I always thought before, oh, I don't have the motivation for this. How can I do this? But what if it's not about motivation? What if you actually need to learn how to be disciplined?
Misha, how the heck do you become disciplined?
In a world full of people that rely on motivation, what can set you apart is discipline. I personally think I'm one of the most disciplined people that I know. And it all started on a random day, February 2023, which was the day I decided to take self-improvement seriously. That day, I made it a challenge to myself to take cold showers every day, even if I didn't want to do it. And that helped build my discipline because I kept showing up no matter if I didn't want to do it. This can apply to you. If you keep doing something that you don't want to do, but you still do it, then slowly by slowly, you will be able to build the discipline to do other stuff because you will slowly begin to trust yourself. So what will we rely on, everyone? Are you still gonna rely on motivation? Or are you gonna start relying on discipline? And the last mindset I'd like to share is life is not all about school. You can see that evident if you watch my vlogs or if you watch my videos. I always advocate the fact that your interactions and your hobbies matter just as much as school. If you think about it, your hobbies, your family, and your loved ones will always stay. But would those grades even matter? What I'm just trying to say is that school shouldn't be everything, and there should always be a balance in your life. Anyways, to reveal my life motto that I've been carrying with me since I was elementary, it's that everything happens for a reason. You should honestly just trust that everything will work out in the end. One example of this is, imagine if I never started this channel. I wouldn't have been able to communicate with such a sweet community. I wouldn't have been able to help those that were struggling. But either way, thank you so much for listening to my TED Talk. I really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. If you made it up to here, comment the word misha-ism. If you enjoyed the video or perhaps my chaotic calm personality, I would really appreciate it if you like the video and subscribe. And remember, you're appreciated, bestie.